An 85-year-old man in a small village in China wakes up every morning at 5:30. He does not take expensive supplements. He does not count calories. He has never heard of biohacking, but he almost never gets sick. He still walks every day, still cooks, still gardens, still has more energy than people half his age, and he is not unusual. There's a village in southern China called Bama. It sits in a valley surrounded by mountains. The pace is slow, the air is clean, and its rate of people living past 100 years old is 5.7 times higher than the global standard. Not twice as high, not 3 times, 5.7 times. Researchers have studied this village for decades. What they found was not a miracle drug, not a supplement, not a genetic anomaly. It was a set of daily habits, simple ones, cheap ones, habits that Chinese elders across the country have quietly followed for thousands of years. Most people assume it is genetics, but when Chinese families move to modern cities and adopt a Western lifestyle, many of those advantages disappear, which means this is not just genetics. It is something they do, something simple, something ancient, and most of them never skip it. Modern people think staying healthy means finding one magic thing, one superfood, one vitamin, one miracle supplement. The American pharmaceutical industry generates over $600 billion a year. That model depends on treatment, not prevention. You get sick, you get a prescription, you pay for it, you repeat. Traditional Chinese culture never viewed health that way. Instead, it saw the body like a fire. You do not wait until the fire goes out and then panic. You keep feeding it every day. That philosophy is called yang sheng. It means nurturing life. And it produces one simple rule. Do not do one thing perfectly. Do small things consistently. The habits that follow are not exotic. They are not expensive. They are not complicated. They are things anyone can do starting tomorrow morning. There is one habit Chinese elders almost never skip. They start the day warm. Warm food, warm liquid, warm movement. To many older Chinese people, beginning the day with something cold is one of the worst things you can do. Ice water, sugary cereal, cold smoothies. In the West, those things seem normal, healthy even. But in traditional Chinese thinking, cold weakens the body, especially as you get older. If you walk into a Chinese home in the morning, you will not find someone drinking an iced coffee. You will find hot water, tea, congee, soup, steamed buns, simple and warm. Hot water specifically comes up again and again when you ask Chinese elders what keeps them healthy. Not herbal medicine, not supplements, just hot water, all day, when they wake up, with meals, before bed. Most people walk around mildly dehydrated and then flood themselves with cold drinks and caffeine. Chinese elders do the opposite. They stay hydrated consistently. And because the water is warm, they drink more of it. Even mild dehydration affects energy, mood, concentration, sleep, and digestion. Warm water costs nothing, and Chinese elders have started every morning with it for thousands of years. If you visit a park in China early in the morning, you will see something unusual. Hundreds of older people, not sitting, not on their phones, moving, slowly, deliberately, every single day, walking, stretching, tai chi, dancing. It does not look intense. That is exactly why it works. Modern people think exercise only counts if it is hard. If you are not sweating, grinding, pushing, it does not count. Chinese elders think differently. They do not exercise hard once a week. They move gently every day. The Chinese Longitudinal Healthy Longevity Survey tracked over 30,000 adults aged 80 and older for 16 years. Physical activity was associated with a 27% lower risk of all-cause mortality, the strongest effect of any single lifestyle factor in the entire study. Not a drug, not a supplement. Movement. Half an hour of gentle movement per day added to the life of someone over 65 is associated with nearly 5 additional years of life expectancy. 30 minutes, 5 years. Tai Chi in particular keeps showing up in the research. Balance, flexibility, blood pressure, stress, sleep, immune function. For older people, that combination is powerful. Chinese elders simply never fully stop moving. Their bodies stay in use. And bodies that stay in use tend to last longer. Here's where the science gets surprising. Researchers recently studied the gut microbiota of healthy Chinese adults aged 80 to 100 years old. The gut microbiota is the ecosystem of bacteria living inside your digestive system. It regulates immune function. It influences inflammation. It communicates directly with the brain. What researchers found stunned them. The gut bacteria of these Chinese centenarians looked remarkably similar to the gut bacteria of healthy 30-year-olds. Not similar to other 80-year-olds, similar to 30-year-olds. The aging of their gut had essentially slowed down. The common thread was fermented food, fermented vegetables, fermented soy, pickled foods, pure tea, foods that feed and diversify the gut microbiome. These are not health trends. They have been daily staples in Chinese homes for thousands of years. A jar of fermented vegetables costs about $2. A probiotic supplement costs $30 to $50 per month. The gut does not know the difference, but your bank account does. The fourth habit is what goes on the plate. The Chinese longitudinal survey identified 6 foods consistently linked to successful aging in Chinese elders. Not superfoods, not supplements. 6 everyday foods: fruits, vegetables, garlic, mushrooms, nuts, and tea. That is the list. Garlic has been shown to reduce blood pressure, improve arterial health, and support cognitive function in aging adults. Chinese elders have eaten it raw or lightly cooked every day for centuries. Mushrooms contain compounds called beta-glucans that directly support immune function, used in Chinese medicine since at least 200 BC. None of this is expensive. None of it requires a health food store. All of it is available at any grocery store for under $10 a week. The diversity matters as much as the individual foods. Chinese elders do not eat the same 5 things on repeat. They eat broadly, seasonally, consistently. Modern people eat narrowly, ultra-processed, irregularly. That gap may explain more than people realize. The final habit is the one nobody can bottle, and it may be the most important of all. Chinese elders still have a reason to wake up. In much of the modern world, older people are quietly pushed aside. They retire, they stay home, they lose their routines, they become isolated. In traditional Chinese culture, that does not happen the same way. Elders help raise grandchildren, they cook, they garden, they go to the market, they talk with neighbors, they gather in parks. They are still needed, and that matters more than people realize. Studies have found that chronic loneliness produces the same physiological stress on the body as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. That is not a metaphor. That is documented biology. Beyond connection, there is rhythm. Chinese elders wake at consistent times, eat at consistent times, sleep when it gets dark. Their bodies operate on a predictable biological clock. Disrupted sleep rhythm is now directly linked to accelerated biological aging and weakened immune response. Community, rhythm, purpose. These things cost nothing, and they may matter more than anything else on this list. The village of Bama is not a mystery. It is not genetics. It is not luck. It is an 85-year-old man who wakes up at 5:30, drinks something warm, moves his body, eats simply, tends his garden, talks to his neighbors, goes to sleep when it gets dark, and does it again the next day. The truth is, Chinese elders do not seem healthier because they discovered some magical secret. They seem healthier because they never stopped doing dozens of small things that modern people quietly gave up. None of it costs money, no supplement, no app, no expensive morning routine, just ancient habits, done consistently, for an entire lifetime. The question is not whether they work. The research has already answered that. The question is why nobody ever put that on a label and told you. Subscribe. There's more where this came from.